Now to a live look this morning outside our nation's capital, where former President Jimmy Carter will lie in state later today. Here in Atlanta, mourners are still coming to the Carter Center before public visitation ends at 7 this morning. Now today will mark the former president's final trip up to D.C., where he served the nation from 1977 until 1981.
Yeah, flags are already at half-staff in the nation's capital ahead of the arrival of the president's casket. 11 Alive Cheryl Preheim joins us now live in Washington, D.C. with more. Cheryl?
Ariana and Jonathan, so many of the stops along the way mark such significant times in former President Jimmy Carter's life. The first stop here in Washington, D.C. will be at the U.S. Naval Memorial. He, of course, served in the Navy as a physicist on nuclear submarines. What a Renaissance man, a nuclear physicist, a peanut farmer, a carpenter, a president, and a humanitarian who lived to be more than 100 years old. And all of this happening with a backdrop of a lot of snow over the capital city, a blanket of snow over the place where he will lie in state for the public to come see him. Take a look at what we're seeing here around the city. Hundreds of flags at half-staff around the capital city in honor of the former president. Even the row of all the state flags have been lowered to half-staff, and we took special note of the Georgia state flag, of course. Jimmy Carter, the only president from the state of Georgia. So today, a significant day here in the nation's capital, a chance to say a final thank you and a final goodbye to the 39th president of the United States, a continuation of what's been happening in our home city of Atlanta. Liza Lucas is at the Carter Center. Liza, the personal tributes we're seeing there in Atlanta certainly carrying over to things we have already seen, handwritten notes left here in Washington, D.C. as well.
Exactly, Cheryl. Just countless examples of how far-reaching President Carter's legacy is. When we talk about those 100 years, you know, it's hard not to talk to someone who has met him over the years or has worked closely from him. We've had so many encounters here at the Carter Center and at the MARTA stop. You know, people who worked with him, campaigned for him. It's just been incredible to see. And that public visitation will wrap up at 7 a.m. Then that departure ceremony will take place here at the Carter Center at 11 a.m. And that is when Carter Center staff, presidential library, museum staff, they're going to all gather with their families for that final goodbye around the circle of flags. And then the motorcade carrying the late president will move out at 11:30 towards Dobbins and ultimately D.C., where Cheryl is. More than 20,000 people have come to the Carter Center thus far, and we've been speaking with them along the way. Families who have been together, little ones in strollers, people from all walks of life and experience sharing in this history together. And that includes Elizabeth Cullins and her 3-year-old daughter Piper. We spoke with them yesterday. Cullins sharing a little bit about why she made the trip. Take a listen.
Jimmy Carter being the only president from Georgia is a really big deal. But not only that, all of the great things that he did in his life after his presidency just make it really important for me to go pay respects. Also had the chance to go to his 100th birthday party at the Fox Theater a couple months ago, and really got to love him even more through that.
We have seen people throughout the course of the morning kind of milling through, taking those final quiet moments. Again, that public visitation does wrap up at 7 a.m. The departure ceremony was pushed back a couple of hours and will start at 11 a.m. and we'll be with you here throughout the course of that here at the Carter Center. Cheryl?
The nod to President Carter's 100th birthday, which was a celebration of music for the rock and roll president, who would often bring a lot of bands to the White House lawn here in the national capital. Thanks a lot, Liza. Ariana, I'll send it back to you with the thought that we know a lot of people are trying to plan trips from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. and navigate the snowstorm. They think the worst of the snow is behind us, so now it's a matter of clearing roads, clearing airports. Hopefully anybody who wants to make that trek from Atlanta to D.C. can do that smoothly in the next couple of days.
Yeah, certainly be worth it. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, so you can stream today's services live on our app. The 11 Alive Plus app will bring you those services also right here on the 11 Alive News starting at 9 a.m. 11 Alive Plus is free to download on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV device.